All right, moving on. Curious how others are thinking about this. Lately, it feels like a lot of legal marketing conversations are shifting away from pure keywords and rankings towards how well a firm actually answers real client questions, especially with how people now search voice, AI commands, long form questions, etc. Not talking about tools or tactics, but conceptually clear explanations versus optimized pages, structuring answers the way clients ask questions, location plus context versus generic legal content. Do you guys feel that it has shifted already, or is traditional SEO still doing most of the heavy lifting for you? Cool. So this is a fun one to talk about. We specialize in SEO, so I love kind of talking about this and how it's how the landscape is changing. And so I think you're spot on, but there's a little bit of a twist which I will get to. So number one, I do think that good SEO and this are superfluous, right? There is, to me, it's the same thing. And I would say good SEO is actually adopting this shift already, this kind of qualitative shift, and that good SEOs are already, they're not in the mindset of set it and forget it, where they create a page once and they've SEO'd it and it sits. They are always kind of thinking about, there's always this element of iteration and improving the content on those pages and changing so that, if you are ranking, you're continuing to rank or go from page 2 to page 1, hopefully creating a competitive moat around your page and basically making a difference over a competitive difference against the competition. And, to your question, I do think Google in their algorithm over the past couple of updates, the core updates they've done over the past 6 months, have all been around strengthening the EEAT signals and prioritizing websites that have actual demonstrated expertise, experience, authority. So what they're trying to do is buffer, push back against the rise of AI content, which, with AI tools and AI writing tools and SEO optimization tools, you're getting a lot of very similar content because it is largely based on looking at what's ranking and then creating an amalgamation of it, or looking at it from a mathematical perspective and saying, okay, these have 1,700 words. Okay, mine needs to have 1,700 words. I need to mention these, topics or keywords into it. And I think Google's has gotten increasingly better at, understanding like true quality, or finding elements on pages to delineate between, okay, somebody's just kind of repeating or regurgitating text, and looking for those quality signals, like, this person is showing a specific example they had from a case, or they're talking about, they have reviews, or they're, going into their credentials for how long they've serviced this type of business, these type of cases, and so on. And so there's really no barrier of entry anymore to creating a lot of that content. I mean, there's still definitely skill with it, and but I think it's much easier now when you don't even need a writer and you can just have AI, push that out. So the interesting twist, or not twist yet, but like the interesting thing to think about too, is that this also, for me, means that Google is stealing your informational keyword traffics, because they are now really only showing results for things that they cannot exactly create themselves. And so, we've seen this with our clients and across the legal ecosystem in general. Like they're vacuuming up 50% of traffic, that lawyers used to get, and that's a byproduct of them scraping and in educating themselves on what lawyers have written, and then repurposing it into an AI overview. And so basic questions, informational type or educational type questions that used to be sending traffic and would generate leads for clients are now just being absorbed by Google. And so it's, it's definitely a tricky time for law firms because, in some cases they're seeing drops of 20% of leads, or more because people were finding them from there. So kind of the twist in terms of, your question, what I alluded to is that, I do think the content is changing. I don't think it's as simple as, clear explanation versus optimized page or structuring answers versus, et cetera. I think it's more about knowledge gain and who best can, show these EAT principles of proving that you are an expert, you have the authority to talk about this, and so you have an inherent value as opposed to somebody who's just learning about it for the first time, putting it into an AI writer and, coming up with text. And so I think it is partly about the quality of the answers, but I also think a lot of it is more just about the tapestry of showing that you are in fact a authority on this, and that is a differentiator from other people out there or other content. I think they're also looking for knowledge gain in this content, because if every single page says the exact same thing and talks about the same entity and the same keywords at the same frequency, then they don't have any way to really elevate content, and ultimately, their job is to give users good answers quickly. So they are wanting to identify who those people are and surface those answers more often. So I think law firms are needing to come up with more unique components that cannot easily be created through AI. And so that's like a unique point of view, your expertise, experience, anything that AI can't reflect or can't easily recreate is going to be likely a good thing to add to that. And the more you can answer the question, I think clearly and in consumable formats, I think usability is a big component here. So that, pages that used to be very, very long because they needed to be optimized, and say all of the right keywords, I think that's going to kind of go away a little bit. And it's more about, usability of the page. Is this giving the reader the best experience? Or are they having to comb through, 20 pages of material to get the answer they want? And so how long they stay on the page, incorporating video, doing these different things to ultimately satisfy the user, I think is really going to be, much more of a differentiation point, something that is going to equate to SEO success or visibility success as these AI tools start to get market share. So do your best to differentiate yourself, cover everything, but keep thinking about the user in the back of your head. And is this easily readable? Is it providing value? All of that stuff, rather than just going for the SEO optimization point. Awesome.